All right. Meenakshi, you ready?
Yes.
All right. Well,
I'm ready.
Yeah, we have a tough act to follow with that last panel, which was awesome. But thankfully, we saved one of the panelists for this session to bring some of that energy here. So, as she mentioned, I'm Darnell Holloway, Regional Director from Yelp. And we wanted to share some insights with you that we're seeing both from the Yelp side and the Panera side as it relates to the pandemic, some innovations that came out of the pandemic. First, also, not sure if we did a deep dive into Meenakshi's bio, but Meenakshi is currently the SVP of Recurring Revenue at Panera, but prior to that, she was at Sweetgreens. She's also worked at Domino's, General Mills, and Pepsi. So she's got a really stout resume and a ton of knowledge to share with us today. So with that, why don't we just go ahead and dive right in? And so we wanted to start off with a couple of data points that we've got up here on the slides here, which you can see. And I'll just read off a couple of quick stats. So, Meenakshi, we talked in our prep calls about the in-cafe experience and how the pandemic has shifted consumer behavior towards delivery off-premises. We've been hearing that as a common theme in a lot of the sessions over the last day and a half. The Retail Solutions Providers Association shows that 60% of dining experiences were off-premise in 2021, and Yelp's economic average report saw a 107% increase in consumer interest for delivery options. So, since Panera traditionally focuses on the in-cafe experience, can you talk a little bit about how you shifted to meet consumer demand?
Yeah, absolutely. And as I was saying, I think a lot of these trends, honestly, were happening before, right? Delivery was picking up, convenience was becoming key, and once the pandemic hit, it just accelerated even more, and restaurants had to pivot. For Panera in specific, right? We are one of the fast casuals, which I think we're uniquely in that position, to have a very rich eat-in experience as much as we have a delivery or a pickup. But when this happened, we had to really double down, and we focused a lot on digitization and making it easy, personalizing it, talking about how easy it is to pick up, whether for curbside, for drive-through, whether for rapid pickup, and also leaned into delivery partners more extensively. But and I will say that off-prem has shifted, but now it's almost like the whole thing is coming back. And our focus now is how do we bring the guests back into what was the Panera experience, but create a new normal, right? How do we make the eat-in experience still as enjoyable, because that is the core of the brand, and how do we do it in a safe way and bring that back? That's why we recently introduced contactless dine-in. For folks who want that experience of sitting, leaving your home and not just always eating from a to-go box, is you can now sit in and not have to talk to people, not have to touch things, touch your phone, do a contactless dine-in, and the food can come to you. So it's really innovation, thinking about where the guest is on their journey and building around that.
And so for that contactless dining option, do you have to have the Panera app on your phone to do that?
Yes, you do. Yeah. You need an app for everything. Download it today.
But just by show of hands, how many people in here have the Panera app on their phone? Got it. Okay, so for those of you who don't, quick plug, you will be given a free pastry if you download the Panera app.
Yeah.
Actually, as a side, how many people have the Yelp app on their phone? Okay, you will. For those of you who don't, you will not be given a free pastry, but you will get tons of useful local data.
More Yelp than Panera. Let's see how that goes.
So, for the things that you're doing, so it's kind of like the pendulum swung one way during the pandemic. Now we're trying to get it back over here. But one of the trends that we keep hearing is that the off-prem trend is basically kind of the new normal. I didn't say new normal, but that's what it is. What are some of maybe the fun things that you're doing to try to entice people to come back into the restaurants?
I think it's really bringing that experience back. So for us, what we call is a Panera warmth. And why people want to come back is to have that human element. And we've all, we know staffing challenges have been so acute in the last year and a half. I think for us, it starts with our associates. It's really training them and getting them to bring that Panera warmth. We bake our bread every day. How do we get our associates and bakers to talk to guests a little bit more? Really bring back that human connection. And and I think technology works the best when it's almost transparent, and it takes away the friction, but really enhances the human connection. and that's what we're focused on. Whether it is contactless dine-in, whether it's food that we're innovating on, right? Like we're bringing more flavors. We did a Thai chicken soup, right? Which is a little different to a broccoli cheddar that we've had always, but it's more flavorful, it's more global, it's not, what we call the familiar made fantastic is how we approach things, and that's what we're trying to do back in the cafes.
Got it. So Brianna, if you can do me a favor, and let's go to slide number 3, actually, the next one over. Just one more quick stat here, just on the off-prem trend. So at Yelp, we saw a tremendous increase in online orders and sales. 3 out of 5 Yelpers ordered takeout or delivery 1 time per week. And online orders resulted in 281 million for Yelp partners in 2021. So let's talk a little bit about this year as it relates to those numbers. Is Panera focusing heavily on online ordering, or what does that mix look like?
Yes, we are. I mean, I think almost 50% of our sales comes from digital ordering, and it has been more even before. For Panera, I will say even before the pandemic, our app, our technology did give us a lead, right? We had that established really well. Technology played a big part of who Panera was. And in COVID, now it's about enhancing that leadership further, right? So how do we take the friction away? We have a variety. The menu variety is probably the highest in the fast casual. We have everything from great breakfast to soups to sandwiches. Now we introduce flatbread pizzas in order to get, to meet that delivery dinner day part as well. And as we do that, how do we make navigating menu easy? So we're trying to make our apps be more focused in terms of personalization of learning your cues and giving it back to you so that it makes it a lot more convenient. And those are the little things that we're doing on online ordering, that every time you come, there's a step improvement that you don't even realize happened, but makes you come back again.
Got it. And then some other interesting data points that we were able to surface just preparing for this. So our data science team revealed there's a few new trends on the horizon. Good for late night. 74% year-over-year increase in searches. By the way, how many people here were at Ruth's Chris last night? Did anyone have a second meal after Ruth's Chris? Okay, at least we're being honest here, right? No, we're seeing we are seeing a huge increase in late night dining as far as Yelpers go. Also, ghost kitchens, 325% year-over-year increase in searches for ghost kitchens. Is Panera doing or testing anything new that you're able to talk about with the audience today?
I wish we owned insomnia cookies. I don't know if I can say that. That's the best way to get to the late night. No, Ghost Kitchen is something that we have looked at from operations standpoint, and we use that in some urban locations. But for Panera, we have the advantage of a wide network, right? We have 2,200 cafes. We're able to really cater to a lot of neighborhoods already. So we work through that. But the idea of Ghost Kitchen and meeting, people where they are is what's happening now, and that's where we're leading in even more. Whether it's delivery, whether it's through, different formats are kind of what we're looking at with cafes as well, and working with our third-party aggregator partners to bring some of that to life.
Got it. And then just one final note on this topic, just leveraging the pandemic in a positive way. Are there any other interesting things that Panera has done directly as a result of the pandemic, or also anything else that you're seeing out there in the space that you think is really cool and interesting?
Specifically because of pandemic, I think so one of the things that's really changed, right? If you think about Panera's, it's about the habit. What it used to be is I go into work, and so this was my weekday lunch place, and that's when we saw the biggest sale happen. And now people are working from home, and how do you bring Panera back into that, or what's the job that we do for that guest in this new environment working from home? So we're working on there is delivery. There we go. I guess I wasn't saying anything too important that it. I mean, it's really, it's being where people are and how their patterns have changed and how do you bring them back and meet them where they are. It is about, like we said, one thing we did is in terms of food innovation. We launched flatbread pizzas because Panera is not just about lunch anymore. Like, how do you double down of more and warm and hearty, right? Like more satisfying meal, which caters to a great dinner experience in addition to a workday lunch, you know. Think about value duets, think about family feasts. Panera used to be more of a single person or, you know, work lunch with your colleagues. And how do you make that more of a family occasion? So it's really, once you know what you're solving for, then ideas come and then execution follows. And that is the approach that we take in everything that we do.
So that's interesting. So can you talk a little bit about what is the marketing strategy there for, you know, Panera as a family option? How do you know, build awareness around something like that and gain traction there?
It's about understanding, you know, who comes for what, right? Like my kids love mac and cheese, and I tell them, if I'm not making a meal for you, as long as you have Panera, I can tell you I worked hard for it, so so the mom guilt is gone. But it's understanding, like mac and cheese is, you know, it is one of our most popular dish, and that's for the kids. But how do you, again, like, it's the Vito vote, understanding the full family, bringing flatbread pizza is something that is more shareable, thinking about, You Pick Two was one of those, but now, like, we have value duets, right? It's taking the menu and thinking about different occasions and expanding into that. And that's the key. And not just in menu, but in terms of our locations, we are a lot based on residential neighborhoods and talking about where we are and really being where the eyeballs are in terms of our advertising strategy and marketing strategy is also shifting a little bit more to really focus on identifying those.
Yeah, and on that note too, one thing that the audience may not be aware of, so Panera is a partner of Yelp, so in the last 3 years we've invested a lot in developing solutions for national brands to leverage national campaigns with a local first mindset. And so exactly what she's describing is one of the ways that they work with Yelp and gain traction with our audience. I want to shift gears though and talk, so you're the SVP of recurring revenue, so loyalty is of course top of mind for you. You know, we talked a little bit about personalization and meeting the customer where they are today. What are the key pillars that Panera is focused on to keep customers engaged and loyal?
Yeah. You know, loyalty also is one of those things that I believe the stat is something around, in the last 5 years, 75% of brands have a loyalty program. And if you think about it, what is unique? Everybody talks about earn and burn. You know, we have an app, we can personalize for you, you can save your favorites. And so it's really thinking about how do you go beyond that and how do you break through. Panera was one of the first to have a loyalty program. We have a massive 47 million members. How do you keep them engaged? And you know, and it was even before the term personalized became very trendy. The whole construct is, it's called surprise and delight, but you follow your own journey. Depending on the number of visits and the spend that you have, the reward that you get at the end of it is based on your pattern. You're not going to get a breakfast item if you're always about a lunch user, right? It's really thinking through that personalized journey, and that is the base construct of our loyalty program. But now comes the notion of how do we expand that further? It's like, it's loyalty without a program. Right? How do you build that engagement? How do you build that relationship? And that's where we're working on, not necessarily doing another earn and burn kind of program, but what we see for us is subscription or recurring revenue is a way to do that. It's a way to provide disruptive value. For $8.99 a month, you get unlimited coffee. That takes your thinking out of great coffee. It's almost, you know, it's less than $1 if you come in like 5 times, you know, twice a week. And that's things along the way that matter to you.
So $8.99 a month gets me unlimited coffee at Panera. Are there different tiers to that subscription? How does that work?
More to come.
Okay, I got it. You also talked a little bit about rewards as currency. Can you maybe share a few insights on that?
Yes. So by rewards is like currency, right? Like the way you started off, somebody download the app, you're going to get a free treat, right? That's clearly value. But when I think about loyalty, rewards has to come in more ways than just a transactional promotion. It has to be what we strive to do is when you go into a cafe and you're able to, you recognize yourself, you identify yourself with your card, and the associate welcomes you by your name and reminds you, oh, did you know you're just one visit away from it? Here you go, thank you for being a great guest, and Meenakshi, I'm going to give you, something as a reward, right? It makes, so how do we use these, in very functional words, it's discount dollars, but how do you use that to reward a certain behavior, whether it is a promotion, whether it is downloading an app because we know that's going to make it more convenient for you, whether it is letting you experience Panera through delivery, and so that we know that it's an omni-channel. Not everybody understands that. Increasing that convenience value, and that's, I think, becomes a language of a two-way dialogue with the guest.
Got it. So let's shift gears again. Let's talk a little bit about reviews. It wouldn't be a Yelp moderated panel without that, right? So, one of the main value propositions for businesses like Panera is that Yelp is helping you attract low funnel consumers. 97% of people on Yelp, once they're looking at a business, ultimately end up making a purchase. The value prop for consumers, though, is that they know that there's trustworthy review content, there's great photos, limited time offers, loyalty programs they can sign up for. I know that you really pay attention to the reviews of Panera, and you have a little bit of a playbook there. So can you share with the audience how Panera is thinking about reviews and just some of the strategies that you employ?
Yeah, we all purchase, I think what we're trying to do is when we think about online ordering, it's not just, okay, now you can get the same food on online. It's trying to bring the mentality of e-commerce and everything that you do. And now that the connection that you've got with your guests through this digital ordering, and unless you're able to hear back and find a way to capture what they have to say, there's no point to it, right? They can either show you, you're lucky that they're actually leaving a review and telling you what it is versus forgetting about you and never coming back. So we take that really seriously in terms of and we do recovery every which way we can. First thing is acknowledging that yes, we sometimes messed up, or if it is a great a compliment, then acknowledging the thank you and following up with that. So on Yelp reviews, we use a lot of our customer service team is focused on making sure we capture the input that we have, and where possible we can respond back to the guests in every way. And then the second thing is, based on these reviews, we make it easy for people to give us their feedback, and for the common errors, sometimes it's a business with people in it and humans, and sometimes there is rush, sometimes things happen, staffing challenges. So how do we give them an easy way to make it okay? Give them an easy access to make it all right goes a long way in recovering our guests versus losing the time and making it hard.
Got it. Thank you. So I know we're running a little low on time. I want to maybe end with a story here, and then we'll open it up to the audience for just a few questions. But you shared a really interesting fact with me, and just one more time, just by show of hands. Last time I'll ask you to raise your hands. How many of you pay attention to that little note next to menu items that tells you how many calories are in your food? Yeah, we all look at that. Now, does anyone know who originated that? Panera. Yeah. Right? Talk about brand innovation. So, Meenakshi, can you just talk to us a little bit about the history there, and some of the things that you're doing that kind of have evolved along that same path?
Yes. So, our mission at Panera is about making a happier, healthier planet, and one of the biggest things there is about transparency. It's a core value, and how do we bring that to our guests? So back in, I believe it was 2010, when we were the first large-scale restaurant, national chain, to put calorie content on the menu. And the idea being, we'll give you information and the guests can make a choice, right? yes, it's soup, but if you're looking for a low-calorie soup, broccoli cheddar is not the one, right? But as long as you know that, you're making a decision and you have other things to offset. Like you have, I think for us it's about really having a lot of pride in how we make our food, where the ingredients come from, and have nothing to hide and share that information. I think we set that trend. And we saw that was really well perceived. And fast forward to now where people are thinking not health just in a single dimensional way of calories, right? I think health means a lot of things to a lot of people, and giving that context is really important. And as a part of a healthier planet, it's also to us, we just partnered with Cool Food Meals. About 50% of our menu is low carbon emission items. So we are amongst the first restaurant chain to actually now label our food as cool foods or like low carbon emissions. So folks who care about, like the climatarians, really care about what you do, what you put in your body, and how you're impacting the planet. We want to make sure that we provide that information. So it is taking that transparency. It's the same DNA of transparency that made us put calories information then, now label our food as cool foods where it's applicable.
Love it. Very cool. Cool food. All right, so we have time for a couple of questions. Does anyone have any questions for Meenakshi or myself? Okay.
Trying to make my way down to you.
Hi, thanks for that. That was really enlightening about your loyalty program and how you shifted the model, well, at least tested subscriptions. Have you fully rolled that out, and have you noticed any behavioral shifts in the new subscribers who are coming to your stores?
Yes, we have rolled it out fully. The timing was a bit unfortunate. We rolled it during COVID, so that changed some of our expectations. But now we just rebranded it. We call it Unlimited Sip Club, and it's in every cafe. And we've really seen that traction. We see our guests who are subscribers come back in so many more times. We see the traffic go up. We see what they purchase go up. So we're able to learn so much about their patterns and actually offer them, rewards and benefits and where it matters.
Hey, well, you're gonna have to, for more questions, you're gonna have to find everyone downstairs because we're gonna keep programming going. Thank you guys so much. An amazing session.
Thank you, everyone.